I failed the CCNA IT exam 3 times. Fast forward 2 years later, I was a senior network engineer making 6 figures. I did all of it without a college degree. I decided I wanted to teach way more people on how to become a high-earning network or cybersecurity professional without a degree. So my co-founder and I started Zero to Engineer to help people launch their IT careers through real-world skills, hands-on training, mentorship from real engineers, and create job-ready students. So far, we've helped over 1,000 people through our world-class training programs. Fill out a quick application that could change your life forever.
Working for NASA was your dream company.
You come a long way as a kid in urban LA to being able to work at a place you only dreamt of in like 4th, 3rd grade. I'm actually inside the control room. You know when you watch movies and they say, Houston, we have a problem? It's, oh guys, I messed up. My name is Richard Martinez. I was working in education as a assistant director at a Montessori, and now I'm a control room analyst for NASA. One person who was a part of the interview process, he called my would-be boss and he said, hey, this guy knows more than guys that I've worked 10 plus years in the field with. And that's not just because of me, because at that point in time, the only IT knowledge that I had was from Nextgent. It's easy to try to pick and choose between schools, but this one has literally put me on a path to my dream experience working with NASA. And that's worth more than money to me.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? How is everybody doing today? My name is Zach Hill. I'm tech evangelist here at Nextgent. And today I wanted to do a live stream to help answer any IT career questions that you guys have, see what we can do to help you out to take your career to a new level, or maybe you're just looking to transition careers. Maybe you don't work in IT, but you really would love to. You heard it's a great career, and that's absolutely 100% the truth. IT is an amazing career. So if you're looking to change careers and you have questions, now is a great time to ask. Hello, everybody in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. Make sure you guys queue your questions up because I would love to answer them the best that I can. And if I can't, we'll find somebody in the chat who can help. We did have a question that had already showed up previously, so we can rock this one right now. It's from Joe Garcia. I'm not sure if he's in the chat currently or not, but they ask, is VoIP technology coming to end of life? I ask this because I see industry are using soft phone teams to communicate more and more. Well, I think as you know, the industry changes, we will see we'll see how the communication landscape changes as well. I don't think we're at a point in time right now where we can comfortably say how this is going to change, because we're not really going to see how the workforce comes back to the office anytime soon, right? Mostly we're all working remote. So, you know, VoIP isn't as needed, right? It's mainly, you know, you're utilizing that in office as your communication system. So obviously there's not a huge need for it right now, right this second. Will that change? Again, it's really hard to say with the landscape. I don't think VoIP will change too much. Even soft phones, you know, like when I was working in IT for a hospital that I was working at, we were implementing soft phones in cooperation with our VoIP system. So they worked hand in hand with each other. And there's a seamless transition, really. There's definitely, you know, we had our VoIP phones, which were hardwired, like landline, essentially phones. Cisco phones in that environment, or short telephones in that environment, actually. And then we brought in soft phones. So they're just like regular, almost look like regular cell phones, but they just connected right through our VoIP system. Again, they work hand in hand, but those were more mobile phones. Those soft phones were used for the nurses who would walk around the floor, who didn't have access to a landline phone all the time. So I guess to try to summarize this answer the best that we can, I don't think VoIP is coming to end of life. I don't think we're going to be there anytime soon. But this is, when I ask questions like this as well, where you're trying to predict the future, sometimes it can be really, really difficult, because even take, for instance, 2020. I don't think anybody could have predicted what happened, and how that happened. So it's hard to say, but I can say pretty surely at this moment, I would say in the next couple of years, I don't think VoIP is going to go anywhere, for sure. So thank you for that question, Joe, and good to see you in the chat. And gotta give a shout out to everybody else in the chat. What's going on, Peter? What's going on, Zach Grove? Hugo, how you doing? Here's a question from D Coop. Hi, I'm trying to find jobs in ethical hacking for when I'm done with school, but don't know the job titles. Also, what do you recommend is the best method for studying the A+ exam? So, the job titles. I always laugh with the job titles when it comes to IT, because job titles in many sense are almost meaningless, meaning you really have to pay more attention to the job description than the actual title itself. And I say this because you might have two what appears to be very similar job postings for different companies, and they could utilize the same title. So say, Company A is hiring for a system administrator. Company B is hiring for a system administrator. By all accounts, you could assume that those jobs are the same. They're somewhat identical because they have the same job titles. However, when you actually go into the job description, one of these job descriptions, let's say job description A, that might solely focus on server administration duties, right? And you're solely the administrator for all of the servers in your environment, for the updates in your environment, for the virtualization, things like that. Company B, same job title, you may find in that job description that your role fits more towards networking and actually managing the network more so than managing the systems and servers. Even though the job titles are the same, the job responsibilities, those job descriptions are sometimes completely different. And that's really what's the most important thing to pay attention to. And you could see the same even with something like a help desk job. Help desk job at Company A may require specific, skill sets, technologies to be aware of. These are, day-to-day things that you'd be doing at Company A, and Company B might be completely different. A help desk from one place to another can sometimes just be drastically different, and you'll see this very, very often, especially with help desk types of roles, is you primarily be answering phones, answering tickets in one job, and then another help desk job, you might actually be more of like a technician and going out and doing some of these different projects, troubleshooting out in the field. So it may not be as in depth with answering phones and tickets all day. So really, again, pay attention to the job description for sure. And then the best method for studying for the A+ exam, probably Professor Messer. Professor Messer on YouTube, you can look him up. It's just Professor Messer. He provides a bunch of free content for CompTIA exams, and his A+ material is really good and it's free. So you can't beat that at all. Here's a question from You Say, any tips for someone who wants to do cybersecurity and any suggested programming language? So I guess my question back to you would be, well, what are you interested in cybersecurity? What areas of cybersecurity interest you the most? What are the things that you think when you're looking at job descriptions and job duties, the things that these people are doing on a day-to-day basis, like a security engineer or an ethical hacker, a bug bounty hunter, and then the list could go on with different job titles. But what are the things that you want to be doing? Now, you brought up programming, which, it's great. You don't have to really have an extensive knowledge or background in programming to be a cybersecurity professional, although there are a lot of jobs out there that will definitely take advantage of any programming languages that you know or learn. So again, that falls back to what is it that you want to do? I mean, if you want to be a programmer or developer and work in security, that's possible. If you want to be like an ethical hacker, there are programming languages that could be helpful, but it's more or less like you learn some of these fundamentals of these programming languages and you align those to the actual job duties and things that you're going to be doing, or you align those to the areas of interest that you're going to be doing. So you could be learning something like Python. Python is very versatile. You could use Python for many, many things, automation, and it's one of those things that's used in ethical hacking very often. You find a lot of different use case scenarios for Python, of course, but that's a great language to get started in, to kind of start familiarizing yourself with things. But again, if you lean more towards like web penetration testing, learning like Java and PHP, even HTML, CSS, like understanding some of these, understanding the fundamentals around the technologies you'd be working within. So if you want to be a web penetration tester or work within that side of things, then learning programming languages that fit the web would be suitable for you. Like we said, PHP, Java, etc. So, it again falls back. I have to ask you more information because I don't know what you want to do. So let's go there. All right. So this person asked, what all prep a non-IT person need to be an IT guy? So as an IT person, what do you need to be an IT person? Essentially, I think that's what you're asking. And the reality is, like, anybody can be an IT, like anybody can work in IT. There's no like set boundaries. There's no like wall that's put up that says, hey, you can't work in IT because of XYZ. The fact of the matter is, like, if you want to be in IT, that's absolutely something that's achievable for anybody to do, provided that you take the time to learn and understand what it is that you're going to be getting yourself into. And I say that because you actually have to take the time to learn the technologies, right? You actually have to take the time to get certified, to put yourself through projects, or maybe, whatever the case may be. There's many options, right? But you actually have to dedicate yourself to learning these things. And you can take somebody who has no IT experience. You can take somebody that really is not tech savvy at all, but they are able to sit down and learn things. They're able to read. They're able to follow along. They can be an IT professional. All it takes is sitting down and studying and learning, getting hands-on. These are things that everybody is capable of doing, but it takes a level of commitment to actually follow through. So you could be interested in IT as much as you want, but until you commit yourself to it, that's when things start to change. And anybody can do it. It does not matter your background, who you are, period. Anybody can do this. And I think that's one of the great things about IT. You don't already have to be a nerd. You don't already have to be, 100% invested into technology. It's stuff that you can learn. IT is a very learnable field, meaning anybody can learn it. You just have to have that follow through. You just have to have that drive, that want, or even passion. And even your passion for it can build too. So to be an IT person, you have to be ready to learn. You have to be ready to put your best foot forward and go down a path of continuously preparing yourself for what it is you need to learn, what it is you need to do. So start learning, even at fundamental levels. You can start learning fundamental IT knowledge. Like CompTIA A+ has everything fundamental related, it seems like, that can really kind of open up the door for you for like an entry-level job, but also just open up your wealth of knowledge, especially that part. There's a lot of information, that covers, and that can open up, other avenues into the technologies that you could be interested in based off of what you're learning on something like the A+. So, I hope that's the answer that you were looking for there. What's going on, McKenna? How you doing? It's always good to see you, Peter. The bearded IT dad. How are you doing, sir? He says, a guy at my work uses Nextgent and loves it. That's always good to hear. Love to hear it. I love to hear when people love Nextgent T and they're having great experience. We are here to help people. That's what it's all about. I'm just going through the chat here, seeing what questions we got here. Here's one from William Fennell. What IT track has the most likelihood to get to the 6-figure mark? Network engineers, anything, just about anything and everything cybersecurity related. Cloud jobs, definitely. Those are big jobs that can help you get there. And definitely programming, developers, any type of programmer, developers, they can get to that 6-figure mark fairly quickly. But in the reality is like, there's a lot of jobs that have the capability of reaching 6 figures in IT. It's one of those things again where, some jobs, even at like a more, not so much entry level, but more of the beginner associate level, they'll start paying very decent salaries, even up into the 6 figures. It's not always the case. It always depends on your area, right? Like that's a big factor. It depends on where you live, where you're located, what those jobs around you are paying for these specific types of positions. So you could find, you could start working at help desk making $50,000 a year, and you could be there for a couple of years and maybe you get a couple raises and you're making like $60,000 a year. And then you could transition into like maybe a system admin role or a network engineer type of role and, make a few, like maybe $20,000 more. It can progress that way, right? It could take time though, depending on what your path is, right? Like if you just start off as help desk and you work towards a network engineer, like that could take a few years to get to. It's a really hard question to answer, to be honest. Like I said, I think it heavily relies on your area. You can go out on Indeed or Glassdoor and you can search for, different job positions in your area, especially geared towards the things that you're interested in, and see what, the businesses in those areas are paying for these types of jobs. It's a really good indication to help decide the path that you need to take, right? It's a good way to see, based on your areas of interest, if it's going to reach that 6-figure mark based on those job titles and your area. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'd say almost all of the IT tracks have a good chance of getting to that 6-figure mark, just some much better than others, like we said. Kelly says, is it good to get the A+ after doing the CCNA? That's like complete like reverse, right? So here's the thing, right? The CCNA is very much one of the best certifications that you can get out of all of them. Like it's a very valuable certification. It's, I would say, even more valuable than the A+. But there's like a catch-22 there, because some jobs actually require you have an A+ certification. So you could run into things like that. So is it good to get the A+? It can be, because it could be a requirement. Like Department of Defense jobs in the United States, they require CompTIA certifications. So that would be something that you would definitely need to get. Is it a good idea, just knowledge-wise? Absolutely, 100%. If you think that you lack any of the knowledge or skills that are covered on something like the A+, it's definitely something that you can go over and obtain. It's only going to add value. It'll help you increase your knowledge, but it also adds value to you. So it can be good. Is it a bad idea? I would never say it's a bad idea. It's never a bad idea to get a certification, because any certification that you can add onto your resume is only going to help you in the long run. I hope that helps. Here's another question. They say, I have pretty good understanding about computers and networking. Recently graduated in computer applications. You're thinking about going for a CompTIA A+. Will it help you get in IT? The CompTIA A+ can help you get in IT for sure. I think it just answered a lot of the question, gave you pretty much an answer based off the questions that I just answered. But yeah, CompTIA A+ can help you get in the door. It's a great certification for sure. What's going on, KevTech IT support? Good to see you here. You say says, can you please say aging different fields in cybersecurity? What do you mean by that? Aging different fields in security? Could you rephrase that, please? What do you mean? And I would be happy to answer your question. William, what are your thoughts about Jorge at Network Academy saying get the I'm not familiar with that, so I would have to look into that on what's being said there. So I can't answer that question for you at this time. Spage, you finished university with a degree in network management and design. You got into a first line job, and that helped you out greatly on getting into the industry. Don't you think you need to dive in deep? What are you? I thought you were asking a question. I'm sorry. Or were you asking? Don't you think you need to dive in deep? Dive in deep with what? What are we going to dive in deep with? I mean, I guess what you're getting at. You got the first line job, which I always love. To tell people like, get your foot in the door any way that you can, even if it's like an entry level job. If that's what gets your foot in the door, that's really what's going to help accelerate your career even further. Especially in any type of entry level role that you get into, there's so much knowledge that you're just going to obtain. There's so many different technologies and troubleshooting issues that just get thrown your way. And you really learn so much. It's a great way to build your experience for sure. Hey, Tyler D. It has been a while, man. I'm doing well. I hope you are doing well as well. It's a well day. Peter, you've been thinking about going for your Network Plus before your CCNA after checking out the exam topics. Would you recommend that plan or go for the CCNA first? Brother, go for that CCNA. Definitely go for that CCNA. Especially if you're comparing the two, if you're thinking, like if that thought even crosses your head, whether you should get your Network Plus or your CCNA, always go for the CCNA because that CCNA is infinitely more valuable than the Network Plus. Again, with that being said, though, there are still some jobs out there that may require the Network Plus certification. So it may be something that you might have to obtain at some point, may not. You just have to keep that in mind. But if you pass your CCNA, if you study, pass your CCNA, the likelihood that you can pass your Network Plus definitely goes up for sure. So you'll be all right. But I would definitely go for the CCNA because that's just going to instantly add a ton of value to your resume. William, finding remote work at the entry level easy. Well, nowadays, all of the entry level roles, not all of, most of, some of, entry level roles are remote. So is it going to be any easier than it was before? The possibility is always there. And here's what I could say, especially about entry-level roles. They're going to focus more so on your personality, your customer service, those types of things more so than the technical skills that you have. Because as you will find out with entry-level roles, those are primarily customer service facing. So the better that you can talk with, communicate with your end users, the better off you're going to be in a role like that. So that's, again, primarily what they look for in those types of roles. So if you have experience in customer service, then that definitely puts you a little bit more forward, than somebody else who doesn't, right? Because as I said earlier in the stream, all of the technical skills can be learned. We can, teach you all the technical things that you need to know. The soft skills, the customer service and communication, like that stuff takes time to learn and develop. Some people naturally have that. Some people may have worked, previously in customer service roles, so they have that experience. That greatly helps you, especially in entry-level roles. Nowadays, even if you're trying to line up experience, right, even ahead of time to make your transition into IT easier, even like obtaining roles for like customer service, like trying to think of exactly what it's called, like if you call up Comcast, and you're on the line with one of their like techs. I can't think, like the words are escaping my brain at this moment, but you get the idea. Like if you can find a job, what are they called? I can't think of it. Not like telemarketing, but even like telemarketing, that could be great experience for remote entry-level jobs. Like that could be actually like phenomenal experience for remote entry-level IT jobs. But yeah, so basically anything that any job that you can obtain that focuses on that type of, I guess, like those types of job duties and things where you're on the phone, you're helping people, telecommunications. Yeah, like that's great experience for you to have, especially going into a remote entry-level IT job. That's what I was trying to get at. I apologize. That one, like I was totally having totally brain fried on that one because I couldn't come up with the words I needed. Here's a message from Facebook. Currently taking the Network Plus for entry level. What other training should I take to obtain knowledge for entering into this job field? Anything from the A plus is great knowledge to have. If you're just looking to get into an entry level role, Network Plus is going to definitely teach you a lot of great fundamentals about networking. But if you don't obtain, or if you don't have the fundamentals around the other, IT technologies that you'll be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, it's probably a really great idea to study for the CompTIA A plus for sure. Like just the information that you're learning on that cert is very, very valuable for sure. James, what do I think of the CCNA? We talked about the CCNA a lot today. The CCNA is a fantastic certification to have. Like that is one of the most valuable certifications to have on your resume, hands down. Like that's one of those certifications where it's still looked at very, very heavily. Like people still look at that certification like, oh, you have your CCNA, that's impressive, that's good. We need somebody who has networking experience. You'll always find that. You'll always find that companies are looking for somebody who has experience with networking. So yeah, CCNA, it's gold. It's just gold. Hands down gold. Peter, been thinking about, I answered that question already. How did we get back up there? I don't know how I did that. Ellie, hey Zach, you just got your first internship at a local city hall. Congratulations, while studying for your A+. Although you love the job, you're not sure if you should stay at the city hall long-term or transfer to an organization. What's your concerns with staying there? I guess, that's my question back to you, obviously, but you're probably set up for a while, provided there's opportunity to grow. That's staying at a location like that, working for the government, usually is a pretty good gig. So provided it's paying your bills and you have opportunity to advance, it could be an amazing opportunity. So I guess I'm not sure what you're concerned with. I'm just going through the questions here. Oops. And thank you for liking my hat. I like my hat too. That's very nice. I love this hat. I keep this hat here at my office so that I don't wear it anywhere else so it doesn't get dirty. Because I want it to stay nice and pristine. Anyway, innovation agriculture. You're 35. Can you be a programmer? You just completed high school. Yeah, anybody could be a programmer. I guess not anybody, because I could never be a programmer. I hate programming. I really, really do. Programming definitely takes a certain type of person to, I would say, excel at and do well at. There's definitely a certain mindset involved there, I feel like, to be, to be good at programming for sure. Anybody can do it. It's something that can be learned. It's just, some people, it would take a lot longer for them to learn, whatever programming language compared to other people, because some people's minds just operate much differently. I know a lot of programmers, and their minds just operate much differently than mine. I could never do it. But it's doable. It's doable. Wayne, what would you need to do the network engineer course with NextGent? What do you mean, sir? What do you need to do? I mean, you can go to our website, nextgent.com, and you can go and apply for our network engineer course. And you have to go through our assessment, and then we have people reach out to you so that we can see what we can do to get you started. So if you're interested in NextGent, definitely, there should be links in the description. If there's not, I will make sure I'll do that right now. But yeah, you can just go to nextgent.com, fill out a submission form, and we reach out to you and we kind of kick off the process. You don't have to have any prior experience or anything. You go through our admission process and go through some of our fundamentals, and you can get you enrolled into one of our network engineer cohorts. And then you can level up, because that's what we do. We get you leveled up. Putting a link in the description of this video right now, which means you probably would have to refresh the page if you want that link. I also put it in the chat, https://www.nextgent.com. There we go. M. Parks, if you complete the network program, can you come back later and complete the cybersecurity program? Absolutely, you can. Definitely. You reach out to our admissions team, and we can definitely help kind of set up a path for you if that's something that you're interested in, for sure. Alf12, how about Security Plus and Network Plus? I have my thoughts on the Network Plus, which I've definitely given my thoughts on that. I think the CCNA is much more valuable. Security Plus, however, I would venture off to say that the Security Plus is probably most definitely CompTIA's most valuable certification that they have. And I say that primarily because if you look at what's happened in the IT field in the last couple of years, or you look at, if you pay attention to what's happening, if you pay attention to if you look in and you think like what's needed the most in IT, it's security. It's security, like hands down. So the Security Plus is like a fundamental cybersecurity certification, covers a lot of different material. You'd probably be surprised if you're not familiar with that certification. You'd probably be surprised some of the material it does cover. I think it's always amusing, when people find out like, oh my gosh, the Security Plus covers like perimeter things like fences and floodlights, and you're like, what? Yeah, it's crazy. Covers a lot of stuff, but definitely dives really deep into some very fundamental based, cybersecurities. It goes definitely deep into the fundamentals of cybersecurity. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking today. So that's one of these certifications that going forward, having that on your resume is going to be huge. Like that's going to be a huge added value. Like if you can bring to an environment some type of cybersecurity mindset, knowledge, they're going to be looking at you a little bit more than somebody else who doesn't have that. Because cybersecurity, just security in general, really, and securing our environment, securing our end users is definitely going to be one of these things that the entire world is going to focus on more so now than ever. Going forward, security is just huge. And we need more people who have a security mindset or have some security fundamentals that they can bring to the table. It's very, very important. So Security Plus, definitely, I think one of the most valuable certifications that you can get right now, whether you're looking to just get started in IT or you're already starting out in this field and you're trying to figure out how you take the next steps. It literally does not matter like what your path is, whether you want to be like a network engineer, a sysadmin, you want to work in the cloud. Having Security Plus certification is going to be a huge help to you. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Again, going through the questions. I hope everybody's doing well today on this wonderful Friday. I know I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here with you guys, talking to you guys, answering questions for you. I appreciate everybody in the chat sticking around, helping answer questions as well. You guys are the bomb, thebomb.com. Ricona, I have some IT experience, but no certs. What should you do to get hired? Apply for everything. The experience is sometimes just as valuable as, if not more valuable, than certifications, depending on like who you're applying to and things like that. But what you can do to get hired is just start applying for all of the jobs. And every single job that you're applying for, take that experience that you have, tailor your resume to those specific jobs so that you can actually speak to the experience that you have that relate to that job you're applying for. That's very, very important. That's a pro tip. Talk about it all the time. Tailor these resumes for sure. Hands-on labs. You can build your own lab for like free to very minimal dollars, right? Like you can virtualize everything in the entire world. Document that process. Add the documentation, or add a link to your documentation to your resume. You could definitely even include, like, depending on the different projects and stuff that you put yourself through, add that as experience on your resume. You know, the things that you're doing. There's definitely a lot of ways that you can help, make yourself stand out. Certifications aren't required to work in this field. Like, it's not a requirement to work in the field. Certifications can be a requirement for some specific jobs. So you have to keep that in mind. It's the same thing with degrees. Degrees aren't a requirement to work in this field unless it's a specific job asking for a degree, which you'll run across. I don't have a degree, never had a degree. I worked in IT for 20 years. I've never needed a degree. And I just got my first certification in 2019. Can anybody guess what my very first certification was? If you already know what it is, don't answer. Let somebody else just take a guess. But yeah, it was 2019 when I got my very first IT certification. I never needed it before, and I didn't even need it then when I took it. I only took it because I wanted to take it. It was something that I wanted to do. So yeah, there's no hard requirements to work in this field. That's like one of the greatest things about this field is we want people with skills. We want people with the knowledge, with the passion, with the drive. Because we can teach anybody to do this. We can teach anybody to do IT. But as I said earlier, you have to have the passion, the drive, the want to learn. You could do it. The bearded IT dad, you were not supposed to participate, bro. You already know. Yes, the very first IT certification I got was the Security Plus. In 2019, I didn't need it. I was working full-time at YouTube at this point, doing YouTube. So I didn't need it. I wanted it. I just wanted to obtain it. But not having a certification or not having a degree has never held me back in my career. And I think that's, again, one of the most, like, that's phenomenal. And when you look at the possibilities that IT has as a career, the fact that somebody with no college degree can make six figures, like, that's just, that's almost unheard of, right? Unless you go into some other trade, like a physical trade, like being a millwright, carpenter, electrician, right? Those are very physically demanding jobs that, sometimes definitely will have the possibility of making a very good amount of money. Then there's IT, where same thing, just not as physically intense of a job. You still have these possibilities to know, or to achieve that six-figure income that everybody wants, that everybody so desperately seeks to obtain. It's definitely very possible in IT, and you don't have to beat up and abuse your body to do it. And even if you were a carpenter or an electrician or a millwright or whatever for many, many years, you can transition into this field, and there's a possibility where you don't have to go through a drastic pay cut. Just with that being said, possibilities are endless, and it's a great field to work in, quite honestly. It's hard to keep up with this chat. Zachary Hopkins, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Hey, Zach, I want to ask you, does Nextgent help you pay for your certifications while they enrolled in the programs in Nextgent? Just curious. Keep up the great work. Yes, we do. We do help with the cost of the certifications. That's part of the program. So definitely, thank you for that question. And if you guys have questions like that, definitely don't be afraid to ask. If I don't have the answers, I can definitely obtain them, or you can always reach out to us on our website, nextgent.com. Go to the contact area, and you can ask any questions that you might have. Let's see. Joe Garcia, interesting in cybersecurity is too late if you're on your last part of your career, 15 years left before you retired. Nah, man. Like, again, it definitely something that you can do. If you're looking to retire in 15 years, like that's a long time. Like, if you think about it, you can go through our Nextgent cybersecurity program. In 6 months, we take you from zero to engineer, right? Like, we literally take you and take you through this security program, get you hands-on experience, get your security plus, really give you these skills and knowledge that it takes to become an IT professional in 6 months, right? So that's 6 months out of the next 15 years of your life, right? Like, if you put that into perspective, like, definitely something very doable, obtainable. So absolutely, you can do it. Let's see. Network Geek. Hey, you want to work in networking field as well as network security? Could you give some advices? And do you have to learn languages completely or just Python network language? You want to work in network security. So advice for that, definitely start off, CCNA is going to be a great starting point for you. Getting, all the fundamentals down that you can, because especially in security, it's really good to have fundamentals of basically all of the things. I say that very lightly, but there's definitely a lot of fundamentals that should be learned as you're getting into security and wanting to get into security. So yeah, definitely make sure you knock those out. There's a lot of great certifications that you can get around security and networking. Of course, Cisco offers some, but depending on really how deep you want to take it, just getting like a couple of Cisco certs can be very, very helpful. And then taking yourself through scenarios, labs that are geared towards security related projects can be helpful for you. The languages, Python, definitely for sure. Outside of that, like if you're just sticking to networking, like Python should be more than fine for you to get started with that. But if it's something that you want to do, you just have to, start doing things that like one step at a time. So like I said, start studying for your CCNA, start moving towards like CCMP, like security, and then start focusing on security projects that you can do in your free time. And you can spin all this up from your own computer. You can virtualize everything. So good luck. So I didn't realize what time it was. So we are going to be ending this live stream. I appreciate everybody showing up and asking questions. If this is something that you would like to see on a more regular basis, please feel free to leave a comment, reach out to me or any one of us at Nextgent directly. We'd love to hear your feedback. And of course, if you have questions about Nextgent and what you could do to get enrolled, please visit us at our website. The link is in the description below, nextgent.com. We definitely would love to answer your questions and help you get started. Here at Nextgent, we really focus on delivering and training hands-on skills. We take you through projects where we actually teach you the things that employers are looking for. So if you are looking to become a network engineer or work in cybersecurity, definitely check out our programs that we offer. And I hope to see you in one of our cohorts very, very soon. And please feel free to reach out anytime. I hope you guys have a great, amazing day. It's Friday, so go have fun and have a great weekend. Take care.